that is more like the highest level you can get to as a Microsoft professional. It's not something you get to overnight. It involves creating a lot of content, a lot of making a lot of impact in the community. It's a big deal. It's a very big thing. It's someone I look up to. I want to be like him someday, obviously, but but for you to get to that point, you have to follow in the steps of those who have been in there. It will be presenting to us today on a very fundamental topic in Azure, one that every Azure professional has to know about. The topic would be about simplifying identity administration for seamless operations. This is a very important topic for people who are coming into the field, who are actively working as professionals in Azure. Azure is basically more like the let's say the I am having I'm having an echo. So what Azure
Proceed, proceed.
basically does, it creates a way for you to be able to have cloud services. So you have access to cloud services when you are using Azure. It's one of the cloud service providers, and it's actually the fastest growing one currently. So we are going to proceed with Mr. CG Okwala. I'm really, really happy to have him with us today. And please, sir, please take the lead, please. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ayo. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here again, and yeah, thanks for all those accolades. And it's a pleasure as well working with you all these years and making it possible for our community. Thank you guys for joining. Like Bobby, Fitz, Gabby, Daniel, Eddie, and Steven. It's a pleasure to have you. I think Anthony's joining. Yeah. By the way, this event is being recorded, so part of the policy I have to tell you guys. Yeah. So without further ado, today we'll be talking about identity management. So with Azure AD. So you guys already know what is identity management if in respect to the cloud. So authentication and authorization. So how do you let people in into an environment or into an application, or say you're working on a storage account or you're working on a data platform or any other PaaS solution or ES solution. And then I have to mute you, Eddie. Thank you. And then you make sure that only people who are needed in that environment or people who need the right access to be there. How do you control that, and how do you enable that? And in the case of Azure or any other environment, you can do that using Azure AD. And that's what we'll be talking about, the two Azure AD. So Azure AD is just a SaaS solution from Microsoft, Azure. So in the on-prem world, it's called Microsoft AD. And then in the cloud world, we call it Microsoft AD. So basically, it entails authentication and authorization. So, and that's basically the two processes within identity and access management. So you need to authenticate a person. So authentication could be in form of for a person to like do like an MFA to prove, okay, he's the person that the name is given, or say the name that is matches a person, an individual mentioned via his email or phone number or something like that, can do with an MFA. And then authorization now gives the person the right to access the environment, say in form of a read access or contributor access or ownership access or admin access. So that's the core three basic areas of role-based access control, in which the IAM, identity and access management, works or operates on. So the goal is to give any individual the least privilege. So the least privilege is a principle in the sense it means that you should not give more than the required right to an individual or to an application or to an entity in the cloud environment. And that's, from a security point of view, makes sense. And that's in the cloud area, on the tech area, that's widely accepted on enterprise level. So we were looking at covering Azure AD, so configuring Azure AD, how to set up users and groups. So users and groups are ways of allowing people or getting people in a project or in an application to access the application or resource group or a subscription, and then they can work on that. Say, for instance, groups, creating a groups who can access like a service principal, and from a service principal, they can all do deployment or do like what do you call it? Access repos from a repository or local device, push codes to an environment, a cloud environment in a project. So in configuring Azure AD, we also look at, for instance, the benefit and the different features Azure AD offers. Then we'll look at describing the Azure AD concepts. Then compare Azure AD Device Services, AD is joining in again, and to Azure AD, Azure Active Directory. Muting AD. Okay. And then we'll choose which other Azure AD editions we can use or available in the market. And then we'll now have to set up Azure AD device identities and then implement self-service password reset. So for instance, basically self-service password reset is like, for instance, when your password is when you think your password is compromised, or every 3 months, or say every 6 months, the Azure AD will ask you, okay, hey, as part of policies, you need to change your password. And then you can now get a prompt and follow some steps on how to reset your password. Yeah. So basically, so like I said, Azure AD directly just a SaaS solution from Microsoft that offers the identity and access management. So looking at in terms of, okay, where somebody is, users or individuals or a device to access an environment. So from inside, from say an on-premises world, you have a data center, and then a local device, and then you have like a Windows server Active Directly, and there's OAuth around it, and then it's a cloud world here. So you could get access, and this access comes in form of a users or groups. And within the users will be a member of a group. Entails groups entails user being part of that group. It could be a security group or Office 365 group. And then within that, you have an owner of that group and then the members of that group to make sure that users are being controlled. So who is the new member of that group, who needs to leave the group, all those kind of things. And that you cannot control with Azure Active Directly management admin portal. And then with the auth control, which is part of the Azure AD features, you can now have access to, say, Office 365 or Azure apps or Azure resources there. So storage accounts, visual machines, Azure functions, Azure fabrics, all those kind of native storage resources within Azure or any other resources, third-party resources that runs within the cloud, Azure cloud environments. So the concept around Azure AD, basically, you have an identity. So identity is just an object that can be authenticated. So an authenticated object could be, for instance, a user, or you can say a device. So say, for instance, in the form of a device, you say, okay, a device could be your say for instance, your laptop, or you have your laptop, and you've been enrolled in a tenant environment to access, say, like a Azure tenant or subscription. It might be say, okay, for this device, we need to like enroll it in that this device is tied to an individual user. And then that could be done. So say for instance, each time you want to access that Azure tenant, you log in with the code, with your username and password, and then you get a prompt from an MFA, and that MFA tied to a mobile phone, for instance, you have, and then you get a prompt on Microsoft Authenticator app or SMS on your phone, or get a phone call. That's something like an identity. And then the accounts, so the identity that's associated with that accounts. That's basically what it is. And then the identity created through the Azure AD is just basically the Azure AD account mentioned. So within that, we have Azure AD tenants and then Azure AD directory. So there's like additional instances on Azure AD that can be created, or say like the underlying product providing the identity services. So a tenant in itself means like a single instance of Azure AD representing a single organization. So for instance, you work on, say for instance, an organization, so like a bank, so Union Bank. So a Union Bank cloud environment with organization name is one tenant. And that tenant is an single instance of an Azure AD that represents a single organization, thus Union Bank organization. And then you get Azure subscription. So the Azure subscription is kind of a pay as you go or paid access to that tenant being created. So you can look at it as if, say, for instance, you have an MTN number or Airtel number or Global number, but then you can make a call or you can use data to use internet. You need to pay by credit, calling credit, or by airtime, or by data. Yeah, that's what you see. Then you get the access uh, 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 in which you require. So calling and then interacting or using internet. So in terms of comparing basically Azure AD device services or using Azure Active Directory, so basically one key feature is just that stands out is just basically the HTTP and HTTPS communications. Also, likewise, there's kind of a query around REST API and over HTTP and HTTPS instead of LDAP. And then with Azure Active Directly, that includes like a federation services that comes with it, and many third parties, such as, for instance, Facebook. Yeah, I'm trying to rush up, so I don't want to keep everybody waiting. It's already late night here as well. So there are different features within the actual Active Directory editions. So for instance, there's a free feature, for instance, that allows you to use directly objects. So it covers like 500,000 objects. Then with a single sign-on, which is unlimited, and then core identity access, as well as B2B collaboration. With Microsoft 365 apps, you have like no object limit, so there's no limit, sorry, and unlimited single sign-ons. And also core identity and access, B2B collaboration, and identity and access for Office 365. And then we have the premium version, so the P1 and the P2. Likewise, no object limits for both of them. And then there's more features. So conditional access, advanced group access, and then hybrid identities and premium features. But then that comes with a price. And in the enterprise level, P1 is P2 is what enterprise uses. So for those of you working in an enterprise environment, probably your company will either be using this or the B1 or P2, premium 1 or premium 2, and that comes on SLA. So for configuring Azure AD device identities, so you have, for instance, you can bring your own device. So you have a device, so your laptop, and you have a mobile phone, and then this AD environment, and then you access this. So you enroll your device, your mobile phone, on the Azure AD. What the AD does, for instance, there's an MFA in which you configure conditional access. That's okay. You can do MFA to authenticate each time with this device. So Azure AD will make sure that this device, the laptop, authenticates with a mobile device, MFA, that it is still you. So this is the identity object itself being controlled by AD. Say, for instance, in the case of, say, you want to access Azure Portal subscription account. And then you also have the Azure AD joint devices. And this is basically for cloud first or cloud only organizations with organization-owned devices. And the hybrid Azure AD joint devices. Say, for instance, you want to continue using your group policy to manage the devices. So this is a typical example on how to implement self-service password reset. So first, you need to determine look at who have to use this password reset, and that comes kind of with, say, for instance, somebody who has an admin right or contributor right, for instance. And then you choose the number of authentication. So the number of authentication could be via a mobile app code. So the person gets a code on his mobile app, or get an email, or get called up on a mobile phone, or get an SMS on a mobile phone, or office phone, or get a prompt to provide answers to security questions. And then you could set, for instance, the case of number of questions required. You said 3, 4, or 5 questions. The number of questions required to reset could get, 3 minimum, for instance. So this is a process of authentication for a password reset prompts when needed. So kind of a summary check. We identified and also we described what Azure AD is and how to, the purpose of it. And basically we looked into the password resets, how you can do a self-service password reset. So we could also later look at some labs if we have time. So I'm trying to rush up with things to keep this within 1 hour. So we proceed further on how to configure users and groups accounts. So we look at creating user accounts, managing the user accounts, and also creating bulk accounts. So for instance, for enterprise, if you're in enterprise environments, and then also create group accounts as well. And then assigning license to users and groups, and then creating administrative units. And then there should be a demonstration. I will show a demonstration on Azure Portal on how to create users and groups. So this is just let me make this broad. So this is kind of a case on how to create user accounts. So for instance, in this case, you have like users already created. And then, for instance, you have people who are already enrolled in a tenant environment. And then these 4 users already been added. and then you could see the user type. So it's whether it's a member of the tenant organization or a guest. So these two are guests. So and this also is a member as well. And that's basically one of the ways. So the rule of thumb that all users must have an account, and that all users is used for, and all accounts is used for authentication and authorization. And then each user account has additional properties. So in managing user accounts, for instance, you could create new users in your organization, and that would end with @microsoft.onmicrosoft.com. Or you could send an invite for users, for new guest users to enroll themselves. So you can click on this option, then you can provide emails for the individual who needs to be enrolled. So you can also do a bulk account update. Basically, you can download CSV templates, and then you upload it. And then from there, there could be a bulk account update on that. So the Azure AD supports bulk user and group member updates. You can create the CSV template and can download from the Azure portal. So in creating group accounts, you have the group type, security, and membership type assigned. Group type, like I mentioned before, it could be a security groups or Microsoft 365 groups. So assignment type could be assigned or dynamic user, and this is only for security groups only. So the security groups are used for instance, individuals, or in instances where projects or projects have to be built, or ES has to be set up, or PaaS has to be set up, or you want to build or do a deployment. So you want to create for like a virtual machine, or say for instance, storage account, or those kind of. You can't use Microsoft 365 groups for PaaS and ES solutions. Microsoft 365 groups only used for SaaS tasks that only involve SaaS services. So you can assign license to users and group. So you can ask like Azure AD comes, the Azure AD comes as a free service, and then you could gain like additional access for Azure AD functionalities for the Premium 1 or Premium 2 accounts. And this allows you to view you can view the license plans, and then set up usage location parameter, assigning license to users and groups, change license plans for users and groups, and also remove a license. So it can be basically useful to restrict administrative scope by using administrative units in organization that are made up of independent divisions of any kind. So, for instance, if you consider, for instance, example of a large university that's made up of like many autonomous schools, so like School of Business, School of Engineering, or any other department, any other school within the university. So each school has a team of IT admins who control access, manages users, and set up policies for their school. So, for instance, always in the case of determining domain information, and exploring user accounts, exploring group accounts, You always have to consider having for a student to walk through the demonstrations, and then we can now do like a lab section later if we have the time on how to do that, or I will quickly show that on Azure Portal environment to say, since if we're rushing on a bit of a time. So kind of a summary check, we talked about how to create users and groups in Azure Active Directory and how to manage users and groups. That's what we looked into. I will proceed further, and then we'll look at a lab. Let's see. I will switch through. Stop sharing. I will change to another plate. So yeah, so these are the labs. So there are 3 labs here. One is setting up self-service password reset. So we already have a snippet of that on the slide deck. And the next exercise is how to customize directly branding and also how to customize Microsoft intra-organization branding. And the next one is implementing and managing federation. So I'll quickly show you the Azure environment and how to create groups and how to create your users, for instance. So this is Azure Portal environment. So the Azure AD, the name changed to Intra. So I don't know if most of you already know about that. So you can see Microsoft Intra there. So we select that, or you can type for Microsoft Intra, and that's it here. So here you could see the add button. So this is the tenant. So a quick intro, just like this is the tenant here, and this is the directory. And within these tenants, I have the admin right to add users and create groups. And then, for instance, also create app registration or enterprise application registration and any other admin things related. So you can create this, click on this add button, create user, create new user. So for instance, you can say, CJ Okpala. And then we have to give a display name, CJ Okpala. And there's a auto-generated password, of which when CJ received that in his email, he can get an option to change the password. And then we click on review and create. Everything seems okay. Then we proceed further to create. So this C job will be created. So you could see here it's in the process of being created. We'll wait for that for a bit, and then I will quickly show how to create groups. And then we can see other things we can do. So I'm trying to keep this event within 1 hour. Looking at the time, it's already late for most of you. I know. Same here. So the user C job has been successfully been created. So we click on that. So we can see here that the user C job are the full name, just C job at mmystic.hotmail.com. So for now, this user is a member, and then is not yet a member of a group. It's not yet tied to an application. It also doesn't have yet an assigned role, and there's also no assigned license. So we could, create a group and then add Cjo Abala to the group we will create. So we'll go back to intra. Sorry. Groups. New group. Security group. So there are two types, group types, security or Microsoft 365 group. So like I said, we're using the security group because for past years solutions where you have to build things or deploy things, you have to use a security group. Office 365, Microsoft 365 group is for managing SaaS, only SaaS solutions. Then we'll find a good group name. You can say Azure Nigeria group. And then if you want, you can also provide a group description. And then membership type, assigned. And then we create a group. Also, we can add an owner of this group. So, okay, from the directly, we could say, okay, one of these users will be an owner of this group, but for now, we'll leave that open. And then later, after creating this group, we would onboard members to this group. Click select. And then create. So the group will start being created. And then we can see that the group has successfully been created. And that's it. So this is the group. So let's see how we could add members to this group. So it's okay, members. So we can add, because we already add CJob along in it already. So we'll just add a CJob as a member. So you can see it prompt member successfully added. So that's basically it. Yeah, I think this is just a short lab presentation. So luckily I'm within the 1 hour mark. So I will leave the rest 9 minutes for questions and answers. Yeah, Ayo, this is it.
I am here. I can hear you, Sam.
Any questions?
Do we have any questions from anyone, please? If you have a question, he's here to assist. We have to say thank you very much, sir, for giving us this opportunity. It's a very straightforward and actually this presentation was fast, straightforward and pointed. So please, if anyone has a question, you can simply unmute the mic and ask your question. Okay, I think this actually proves that the presentation was quite straight to the point. Okay, we have a lot of people that understood better.
Okay, excuse me, please. I don't really have a question. So it's just for me to digest most of the things he said. Can I get the video recording? Will it be made available?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, we'll share.
Okay, thank you.
I'll share the YouTube group after this call where you can access all our recording and also recording of past events we had.
Yes, every event
All right.
from
Thank you.
every event from Mr. CJ is being recorded. So it's usually present on the group. If you're not part of the group, please request the group link. It will be sent to you. And also, we also have it on YouTube. On YouTube, of course, you could join in and follow because it keeps on dropping a lot of updates. That's one thing I actually like about him. He keeps on doing it. He doesn't just do it for himself. He's from the Netherlands. Of course, he's being paid really well. He has his business. He has a lot of things going for him. But just to make sure everything goes back into the community, he keeps bringing these videos back in. So they are all recorded, of course. They are all recorded. You will get them in the groups and you will also get them in YouTube. So yes, is there any other question, please? Okay, someone is asking for the group
Yeah,
link.
I'll
It will
share
be
it now.
sent to,
I'll share it
yes, it will
now.
be sent. Okay. So any other questions, please? Okay, I think we are good on the question aspect. Mr. CJ, thank you so much for this presentation again. I'm actually looking forward to doing this with you once more in the nearest future. Thank you very, very much for taking
It's a
your time
pleasure.
out to be with us. And I want to
Always.
thank everyone also for attending. It's also nice to have you in here. Thank you so much for attending the meeting. Mr. CJ has always been doing this, and it's very possible that he would have another meeting with us again, possibly exploring another topic in Azure.
For sure.
So
Yes.
of course, yeah, he's promising us that. I can see he's promising us that. So I look forward to it. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Tech Babi, Mr. Steven, Gabby, Eddie, Mr. Daniel, Mr. Christian. Thank you all. I really appreciate everyone coming out. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to have you guys. Thanks for the time. See you around next time. Enjoy evening. Ciao.
Wow.
Bye. Bye.